Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of The Complete Advisor. So happy that you are joining us. We're going to dive in to a conversation. I like to think about this. I was thinking about this before we started talking, and I will tell you who we're talking to here in just one second. But, one of the things that we work so hard in our business for is getting prospects. And we put so much work into it. So what happens when you finally get people that what we want them to do is we want them to stop, we want them to look, and we want them to listen to what we have to say. And so sometimes we work so hard on the front part of getting them to stop, look, and listen. Well, now we've caught them. We're like a dog that caught the car, and we've got the car. So what are we going to do with it? So we got their attention. We got them to stop. So on today's episode, we're going to talk to Michael Knox out of Colorado. Michael, welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It is fantastic to have you here. And one of the things I know about you, because this is our first time meeting, which is cool. But one thing I know about you is that you do seminars.
Yes.
You get in front of a lot of people.
Correct.
And so what I wanted to talk to you about is you get them there. Mm-hmm. You do your presentation. Now what? So what I want to talk to you about is that backside. So before we get started, so I'll say part of your bona fides, you fill in the rest. Michael's on the show because he's a very successful advisor. You have a practice in Colorado, and I know that you are fantastic at seminars. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, my firm is newly kind of revised, so to speak.
Nice.
We are more family focused. I tell people at seminars, hey, if you become part of the 5280 family, you are an extension of my actual family. So I'm going to treat you as such. I'm going to talk to you just as I do, my aunts, my uncles, my wife, whoever it might be. So nothing changes there. So you'll be a part of that family. So nice. You're going to get the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
Is that how you started your practice? With the family focus?
No, I did not. I started my practice kind of parlaying off of somebody else, and then I realized this isn't me.
Yeah.
And so I had to take kind of ownership of what's actually me and what works well for me. And I tell clients, hey, when you come in, that first meeting is more of a discovery meeting. I need to find out about you. Mm-hmm. You need to find out about me. I need to find out if we can work well together, because if we don't mesh, we don't work well together. Yeah. It's no sense in going forward.
If either one of you, your clients or you, look at the appointment coming up and you're like, oh, for the love of Mary. Those are the last two people I want to talk to. Are like, oh, mm-hmm. Man, we got to go see Michael. You know what I think is brilliant about what you just said, because I've thought about this. If you think about when our dads, when we were kids, more than likely, and everybody that's listening, more than likely, your dad or your mom belonged to some group, mm-hmm. Some fraternity, the Moose, the Elks, mm-hmm. Fred Flintstone belonged to the Royal Order of Water Buffaloes, him and Barney. So people used to belong to a lot of different groups. I don't. I hang out with my wife, I hang out with the kids. Mm-hmm. I think as social media has kind of pigeonholed everybody, that there's less interaction. So people want to belong. And so I think you're totally with the idea of you're part of the family. That's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. You say you want to belong. I belong to a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And one of our big things is hazing, mm-hmm. And it's kind of lends itself to a family as well. When somebody's treating you wrong inside of a family, you feel like you don't belong. You go find somebody somewhere mm-hmm. else. Mm-hmm. So we don't do hazing or anything like that. And I always tell people, when we have new pledges trying to come in, I tell them we don't haze. And I'll tell you first and foremost, why would you want to be a part of a fraternity or a brotherhood that treats you bad?
Yeah.
So I treat my clients the same way. I'm not going to treat them bad because you're not going to want to be here. You're going to go find somebody else to belong to.
Exactly. So how do you? That's interesting when you said fraternity and hazing mm-hmm. and family. I'm the youngest of five, so I have four older brothers. So immediately when you said hazing, I could think of the wrongs that were done to me by my loving brothers. when we were kids. But well, let's go back. Let's go back to your practice. Let's go back to meeting people, prospects. Mm-hmm. You're doing seminars, dinner seminars.
Dinner seminars.
Okay. You're doing those, but so let's talk about immediate. So you've got them there. Mm-hmm. Are you just out of curiosity, old school mail, digital mix?
It's old school mail. We send out postcards, but I'm actually looking to get more into the digital side of things. A little more cost effective for me.
Yeah. Okay, so you get them there. Mm-hmm. They come to the event. Mm-hmm. You say, "Good night, God bless." Mm-hmm. You've at some point. So right before that, somehow you're setting up the reason for you to get in contact, for them to get in contact with you. So one, let's talk about your process for collecting attendee information. How are you doing that?
If they show up to the seminar, we have them there. In that seminar, they're actually booking the meeting with me.
Okay.
So they don't leave, unless they book a meeting with us. Now, those folks that don't book a meeting, okay, we know who they are. We segment them off and as attendees, but no meeting. But usually we'll try and book about 50 to 60% of the room.
Let's talk choreography. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing your event, you're presenting, and I know you have a staff of 3. Mm-hmm. Who's with you, and how do you have them positioned?
I have young ladies in the office. They're my kind of back office team. They run the office. They run me. Mm-hmm. So they're there. They're much prettier than I am, so it's easier for them to go around and kind of peruse the crowd, so to speak. And then I go in, at the end, and just kind of tell people thanks for coming. We appreciate you. I know you're booking a meeting with me. We'll get that meeting booked within. They have a 2 weeks, window. So if it doesn't work for this week, we can get them in the next week.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Exactly. So we have these people. The times that we know when they're coming in, but immediately after the seminar, we'll send them out an email saying, "Hey, thanks for attending. We appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed the event. We look forward to you coming into the office," and it tells their time. But they also get, right then and there, they're handed a appointment card for their meeting.
Like dentist.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we treat it. So they get an appointment card that they leave the seminar with, and then either that night they'll see the email, or the following morning they'll see the email saying, "Hey, thank you, we appreciate it." So just another way we can touch them.
Do you guys have a code or a? So do all 3 of your staff come to the seminars?
Usually 2.
2?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a? So I've talked to other advisors where they have either. I had somebody on where they used to work in the restaurant industry. Mm-hmm. The restaurants always have the tables coded. Mm-hmm. Do you have any? Are they taking notes for you? So like, hey, guy in the red plaid shirt at table 3, seat 5, blanky blank blank. Do you do anything like that?
No, we have the demographics of the attendees. So we sit those people that have a little bit higher net worth. We sit them a little closer.
Are you? So that's interesting. You're the first person I've heard say it. So you're assigned seating.
Mm-hmm. They don't know it's assigned, but yeah, we escort them to the table. We see their net worth, and those people that have a little higher net worth, we put them a little closer because I'm a little bit more interactive with them because they're right up front.
Interesting.
So yeah.
How? So now we have to take. That's interesting. So we got to go back up. We got to take the time back to the front.
Okay.
What's your meeting look like? Maybe your game day meeting as your plan and strategy of if so and so comes, like we're making sure they get there. Do you have a pregame meeting?
When you say when they get to the office, or
no, when they before the seminar. So say it's day of, and you get the staff together, and you're like, okay, tonight we're going to be at Ruth Chris or whatever's a great place. Mm-hmm. Do you have that game day meeting?
Yeah, we have a little huddle where we kind of talk over things. Hey, remember, put this person here, or I might have. I'll give you a good example. I had a couple people that came in that were walkers, and I said, hey, this person's in a walker. Let's escort them around this way, so if they need to get up and go to the restroom, it's easier for them to maneuver through. so they're not trying to skate through a bunch of people. Just little things like that,
Yeah.
and and just again making sure we're greeting everybody, shaking hands. At the end of the night when they're leaving, we're asking if they have a good meal. I'm giving hugs. The girls are giving hugs.
Nice.
Yeah, and it might not be a full-on hug, but it's like with the guys, I'll shake the hand and just put my hand around their back and appreciate it. Sometimes with the young ladies, if they're older, they love hugs. Younger, 55, 60, I'll grab their arm, bring them in close, and say thank you. Maybe grabbing them on the arm while shaking the hand too, but it's a resemblance of a hug. Let them know, hey, I appreciate you.
Like
So.
it. How did you decide to seat people like that? Where did that come from?
To treat them like that?
No. To decide, hey, let's go ahead and let's put the high net worth people. How did you come up with that? I hadn't bumped into. I literally have not talked to someone who's done that before.
Well, we code our clients when we get them, right? We say, hey, this is a AAA client, AA, single A. Why not do that in the beginning, where even though as a prospect, they're not a client, do it as a prospect. But these people have higher net worth. Obviously, I would, if I'm spending that much money on feeding and gathering them here, I want those people that have more money to get a little bit more attention. It might not be fair, but I want them to have a little bit more attention because they have a higher potential of helping out the firm, so to speak,
Absolutely.
if they become clients. So, I pick on them a little bit, call them by their name and, and make them interact,
Name tags?
Name tags, always wear name tags, yeah.
Oh.
That way I can call them out, yeah.
Have you always done that?
Always done that. Always
like
do name tags.
Do you have the staff? I love the choreography and the X's and O's of our business. So do you have the name tag table? Are they outside the meeting, inside the? How do they get their name tags?
Well, there's a sign-in table. So when they come in, the table's just inside the venue. At one place at Fleming's is just inside. Ruth Chris is outside. But
I got that right.
Yeah, so it's right outside the door or just inside the door. So they stop in, they check in. We get them checked in. We write their name tag out.
Yep. Handwritten every time.
Handwritten, and then we escort them to the seat. So
I like that. That's great. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, one thing from a physicality standpoint, you and I are, I think, about the same height. You look like you're about 6'4", right?
I'm 6'2".
6'2".
Yeah.
Oh, you stand taller.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Right. I always run into this where sometimes I'll do a hug and kind of pull somebody in, and sometimes I hit them with my shoulder, right in the throat. Do you ever run into that problem?
I with the older, playing football all those years, I try not to snatch people in real quick, but I'm a little bit gentle. But yeah, you got to be careful with them. That's why I reach around the hand around the back where it's a gentle hug, or right on the arm, saying again, thank you, appreciate you.
Nice.
I just want people to know, hey, I appreciate you taking time out. I get to feed you, I get to educate you. I appreciate you spending time with me. Just like with family, when they come over, when my family leaves, friends leave, we give them hugs. So we never know what's going to happen when you leave that building. So,
that's right.
So
do you guys? So you have a great the huddle pregame. Now you mentioned that you get that email out that night. Even do you do a post game breakdown?
Yes and no. It's not as formal as like when we come together. Hey, remember this, remember that. Afterwards, we'll come together and it's like we're all kind of standing around looking at each other, and then I'll go, okay, how did it go? And they'll tell me, they're like, hey, this person was it? Oh, this young lady over here was drinking too much or whatever, And we get a kind of general idea of kind of what happens. But
so you wrap. And your staff is working through the room. Are they following you pretty close behind you? What's get them scheduled? Or?
We've tried different things. So what I like to do is I'll go around and thank everybody and talk with them for a little bit. And I like to have, right when I'm finishing up, I might give a little signal or something with my hand or something. They'll come over, and I'm like, I know you're booking a meeting. She's going to help you. Do you need help booking a meeting? So I'm not putting the onus on them because they're not salespeople.
Yeah.
But I want to push the meeting because nobody gets paid unless they come into the office.
That's right.
So.
And it's a lot easier to say no to them than it would be to.
Exactly.
So what have you, out of curiosity, What did you try? Have you tried any other techniques that because you got to where you got to what you're doing because it's working. Do you remember anything of maybe some early days where like, I tried that and
I had one seminar and we tried to do something different. It wasn't that long ago, and it was a bust. It was where I left the room and let somebody else try to book the meeting, and they don't do as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's more because I'm speaking, and again, I'm talking about family and friendship, and people will say, I'm coming in. I want to see Michael. Michael's going to be there. I don't want to talk to anybody else but Michael. Now they're okay with the girls in the office. They don't want to talk to another advisor. They only want to talk with me. So I think that lends a lot of merit, credibility. That if you're the name on the door and they get to speak to you, they want you the whole way through. So we've tried other things that didn't work where they did it because it's I left the room actually. I went outside to the bar and had a drink and let them do the thing. Just want to see how it worked. It didn't work. Never do it again. Another one that we did, which I thought worked really well, and it moved everything along pretty quick, was we have an agenda that's set up. At the very beginning, I tell people, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk for 35 minutes. At about the 35-minute mark, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to go over here, and you're going to get to book your appointment. Then we're going to come back, and we're going to wrap up for the next 10 minutes. That's it. That one works well, too.
Are you going to keep doing that one, or are you going to?
I like that one. I like that. You know what it is? It's because people know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
It's very transparent. You see what's happening. You get to see other people getting up, walking over. And here's the other thing. When they come over and book the meeting, they get a little gift bag.
There you go.
They get a little gift bag, and everybody wants to know what's in that gift bag.
That's my next question.
Yeah, so they want that gift bag, and it's nothing in it but some candies, a little notebook, a pen, nothing major, But it's just the fact of somebody got something that I don't have.
Yeah,
and I want it.
So they physically get up and go, like they have to hop up and go, and then come back.
Yeah, we have a little calendar, like a whiteboard calendar with Post-it notes, the little singular Post-it notes with the time on it, and they're double. So they get one, and it goes right to their little appointment card, so we can fill it out, and then we have it, so we know who's coming in.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's a new one. Say that's great.
We've tried a couple different things because to me that's what it's all about. Again, I'm wining and dining you, but if you leave there and I got nothing, it's just an expensive night for dinner. So I got to get you into the office. I need to bring you in. Where the magic happens is across the table, And when they come in, people come in and they think, oh, it's going to be like an Edward Jones office or a Schwab office where, it's got the big wooden furniture and anything. We have two conference rooms. And the first conference room they get to go into is family style. It's a high boy kitchen table set up with a credenza. Looks just like you're at your dining room.
Yeah. How'd you decide to go that way?
My wife. I was actually going to do like chairs, like comfy chairs, and she's like,
like
no.
the squishy, bigger, like
not like a lazy boy, but something like that. Yeah. And she goes, why are you doing that? You need places to write on, and you need it to be comfortable, and go old school. Like people used to sit around the table and talk. We do that right now at home. We talk around the table.
Yeah.
So we did that. And it's not the low kitchen table. It's a higher kitchen table. So, it's easier to get into for older people. And
God, I wish you wouldn't have said that. I was just going to say, I always like to sit higher when we go out. If we go out to dinner, it's like
I do
we sit
too.
at the bar. Like I'd rather sit high.
I do too. It's just more comfortable. And, there's 4 chairs. Actually, there's 6 chairs. 4 chairs have backs.
Yeah.
2 chairs are stools. So we have extra chairs in case somebody brings in, kids or something like that, or CPA.
CPA, make them sit on the one without the back.
Yeah, I sit on one without the back because I'm always moving around a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they come in and that's where they sit and they bring all their information in. They know exactly what they're bringing because it goes out in that email. Hey, when you come to the meeting, make sure you bring this, this, and this. And we confirm the meeting after. So there's a couple more touches if you book that appointment at the seminar. There's a couple more touches we do afterwards to ensure that they're coming in.
What do you do in the other conference room?
That's the business conference room.
Uh-huh.
So the first room it's all family style, and the second one is it's a bigger conference room table, white furniture, big TV monitor on the so we can pull up all their information.
Yeah.
But they don't get to that one till the second meeting. So
That's the business. I love it.
yeah.
I love it. I like that. That's interesting. So what about yeah, that's really interesting. When you were, I was thinking about when you said before we turned to microphones on, I was telling you about me working for my dad, and I was terrible. And one of the things he would say is every day I'd come back into the office after appointments, and he would say, "Did you sell something, or did you make a friend?" And I would always be like, "Well, I made a friend, Dad."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same with if you don't close business.
Yeah.
So what about the non-attendees? So you got the other folks. So we get a fair amount of non-attendees. Some people think that's I guess non-fertile ground, but there's a lot of opportunity there. How do you work that side of the fence?
If you attended and you didn't show, and even if you said you were going to show and you didn't show, doesn't matter. You get segmented off as an attended non-show or a registered non-show, and after the seminar we send you an email saying, "Hey, sorry we missed you. We had a great educational event. I apologize you missed an awesome dinner, but we'd still love to talk with you." And so we send that email out, and then we follow up with a phone call as well. So
You or the staff?
it's usually staff will call, but sometimes I'll call too. I'm not opposed to calling. I get paid, so I'll dial for you for sure.
What about, do you have a process for, so those folks, if they don't end up closing or coming in, you've got a drip system or, how long do you drip on something?
Forever. I pay for them. I'll keep dripping on them. Yeah, you are mine until you say remove me. So.
I like it. So mostly electronic? Do you do, are you doing any direct mail?
No, they don't get direct mail after that.
Pricey.
Yeah. I only send direct mail just for the seminar. Then we'll send, like, if you become a client, then we give you gifts and things like that afterwards, saying, "Hey, thank you, appreciate you coming over and trusting us with your business." So
nice. What about okay? So one, you've got it in the email of what to bring, what they need to bring to that first appointment. Out of curiosity, what do you suppose the percentage of people who actually remember to bring their stuff? If they don't bring their things, if they don't bring their spouse, do you have the appointment or do you reschedule?
Most people bring their stuff. I'll start there. Let's talk about that one. So most people will bring, they come in with a bag full of stuff, and when they get there, we give them another folder and a notebook, pen, and all of that stuff. But most people bring in their stuff, and there are people that come in. I'm like, this joker didn't bring his stuff, and I know he got the email. But then I'll call him out. I'll say, "Hey, did you get our email saying that you're supposed to bring this?" He goes, "Yeah." And I say, "I noticed you didn't bring anything." And they'll pull out a thumb drive with all their stuff on the thumb drive. So they have the email. It's just how do they give it to us?
Do you have the ability in the family room to? Do you have a TV or whatnot?
No TV in there. Nope, it's all personal. So when they give us that thumb drive, and so I'll ask them, "Is everything on the thumb drive? Can we copy it?" And they'll say, "Oh, no, you can keep it," or "Yeah, you can copy it and give it back." So we'll just plug in it to a computer and just drag everything over. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's the intro. I love that.
I've had that happen several times. It's weird because you think they don't have anything, and they actually do. Some people are a little bit more techie, so.
It is surprising. Yeah, my parents are on their iPads and they're in their mid-80s. So
yeah.
What about folks that if they come without a spouse?
If they come without a spouse, I'll start talking to them, and I'll get a lot of information because they usually know, and sometimes they send the spouse in to do the cleanup, and then they show up. But I'll tell them, "Hey, we're having this appointment here. I think I can help you, but here's the thing. I don't really know for sure because you didn't bring the other party. So here's what I need you to do. We're going to book the second meeting. You're going to come in. We will not have that second meeting unless that person is with you. We got to have that person for sure." And then on our process, and they generally know this. And the only reason that somebody doesn't show up with their spouse is because maybe something happened. That person
Sure.
could get up, but they really wanted to come to the meeting. Because what we do is in that seminar folder, it shows our process. It details out our process step by step. First meeting, discovery. We're going to learn about you. You're going to learn about us. Second meeting, we're going to show you that we can help you. You like what you see, you give us a verbal commitment. Third meeting, we're moving forward, doing signatures and things like that. So they know, again, we're 100%
like
transparent.
People,
know?
I've always believed that people, good news or bad news,
Mm-hmm.
people don't like to be surprised. If you tell them what the expectation
Yeah.
is, then you can well, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
What about, so what do you do on the second appointment? What are you laying in front of them? So you've got their information and then how detailed are you going?
I'll go from a 30,000 foot view maybe down to a 20,000 foot view because there's always some surprises. Oh, I forgot, I didn't tell you this, So we don't get too detailed, I shouldn't say that. We do get detailed, but it's not written in stone. I always tell people we can always make changes. This is where we're starting from. You tell me, and we're concept driven. So if you like this concept and what we're doing here, we're going to build it out more towards you. So that's when you get to sign. Not asking you to sign right now. That's next meeting down the line once we build it out.
You ever hear the term showrooming?
No.
It's I think it's actually probably a decade old, but I like it. So it's where you go to where people go to Best Buy or a brick and mortar store, get all their questions answered, and then go home and order it online. Yeah. So that's great. That's a great way to avoid that. You're giving them enough, but not enough.
Yeah. And then I tell people, you can't take my stuff. You don't get to take it home and show it. No, you want this, you have to become a client.
Oh, so they're not walking out of there with what you're laying in front of them?
No.
Because are you doing it all on the...
It's a little bit of both. I can show them on here, but again, verbal commitment. You give me a verbal commitment, then I'll give you the stuff. You got to say yes. And it's funny because the verbal commitment is you have to tell me you want to do business. Michael, I want to do business with you. And we're going to shake on it. And I'm going to hold you to it. So I'm a little old school. That's the way I think it should be.
I agree.
You don't have to sign anything right now because it's not set in stone. We need to make some changes, make some adjustments. But I want you to say, hey, Michael, I like you. I think you can help us. I want to do business with you. I care less what you're showing me and what you're going to present to me or what company it is. I know you're a good, solid dude. We want to work with you. That's what I'm asking for.
I like it.
So.
All right, I got two. We're going to land this plane, but I got just one or two more questions for you. So they're clients. They become clients. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, this is a curiosity question for me, you mentioned family and treating them like family and such. Do you do a client appreciation event? I'm
not going to lie to you. That's one thing the girls in the office are saying, we got to do this year. We got to do it. They already have it planned out. They're going to do, I can't even think of the name of the place because they said, oh, the women love this. And I think it's more geared towards the women because they said the husbands are going to hate it, but the women are going to love it. And they're the ones that are most important. And I was like, okay. But no, I have not done, to answer your question, I've never done a client appreciation event. And I should. Now, I've done things like when you become a client, I'll send out, like a big popcorn basket, a welcome basket. Anniversaries, birthdays, I send out little gifts. But I've never done a client and I feel bad that I haven't because I feel
you shouldn't feel. You know what? You shouldn't feel bad because I've heard from doing the podcast. I've talked to lots of producers, and I've heard top producers that don't think they'll ever do one. I know somebody on the East Coast that does it's like a crab feast thing that I keep trying to angle to get invited to. There's a guy that we do business with that he just it just so happened when he was in college for a part-time job he was a boat captain because it's Minnesota. It's not like it's the high seas up there. No offense, Minnesota, but he was a boat captain of a little small tour ship. So every year he takes his clients on these a little boat tour. Okay. So I've heard all different, even down to a guy that him and his assistant They gave holiday pies out. And
Oh.
during COVID, they stood by the curb and handed them and
Handed 'em
stuff.
out.
But, so it's such a mixed bag whether to do it or not.
Yeah.
And there's so many doggone different things. When you said that your staff said that, I was literally trying to think of like, what would be something my wife would like that I would go crazy over,
Yeah.
not be wild. But there's so many things a person can do.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have you back on because I'd love to hear more about your process. We
Okay.
can do that on another episode next time you're out this way. Both you and I are going to the game tonight, which is awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Which will be super cool. And it'd be interesting to catch up with you later.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And for everybody else, this is the end of this episode. I've got a favor to ask of you. And that favor is this. If you get a chance, shoot me a message. If there's a topic that you would like the show to dive into, we will talk to somebody about it. If you get a chance, though, like, follow, subscribe, squeeze the like button. That way you are in the know every time we drop a new episode. So that being said, take it easy and we'll see you next time. Thanks, sir. That was awesome.